it was a team that had zero chemistry and no ability to play together as a team. OFFSEASON could be on that team, and he would also be a bad player. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Man of few words. Okay. And Donnie, you just got to Korea a few days ago, I'm guessing. What was that like?
I've been here for like 4 days.
Hmm.
Travel is actually pretty easy. There's nobody in the middle seat on the plane, so I was able to.
That's what we love. That's what we
Bliss.
love.
And yeah, Korea is cool. I just unpacked my suitcase this morning. I am enjoying getting lost on my way to work and finding new coffee shops and stuff like that, and having to rely on Yudatan to order me food because I can't use the Korean apps to order food.
Yesterday, I ordered for him the galbi, the Korean.
So good. It was probably the best thing that I've eaten since I've been here so far.
Let's talk about the immediate aftermath of face-off. Like after those 5 matches were done, what was the reaction to the team based on the losses and the wins?
We definitely figured out that we were a little bit nervous when we played, which is good to get out of the way now. And then shortly after that, we also learned that we were going to have to change the map pool. So we had to immediately drop 2 maps that we were pretty good at and bring in 2 new maps that we were not so good at. What do you think, Yudo?
일단은 현재 팀 분위기가 날이 가면 갈수록 좋아지고 있는 것 같긴 해요. 앞으로 일단 킥오프가 얼마 남지 않아서 그 전까지는 팀 분위기가 좋았으면 합니다.
What's it like practicing and scrimming across so many countries? Because some of you guys are now in Korea, some of us are in Singapore, and there's a couple of people at home. How do you guys balance all of that?
I mean, for me, I've been remote up until 4 days ago, so nothing really feels different, even though I'm now in Korea. It's like we're still just on Discord. Other than I get to high five Yudatan when he makes good plays every now and then. I think the big change will be when we actually have all 5 people in one spot with both coaches, because up to this point, that's never happened. So we don't actually even know what that's like. But I mean, the vibe is good on Discord, and I assume that it will also be fine in person because everybody is easygoing and funny, and we're all here to work hard and win. I think by the beginning of January is supposed to be the date that everybody's here.
Let's come to a little bit about the recent events as well, right? The recent challenge that has popped up around, Patrick. So how is the team managing, the his temporary absence?
I mean, for me, basically everything is just business as usual. Like, I'm very familiar with esports. These things happen all the time. You have to just be prepared to continue working. I think maybe Yuda can speak a little bit better about like what it's like to be on the team, since he's kind of experiencing more of like a shift, having to switch roles and just kind of integrate a new teammate. So what do you think, Yudo? How's the switch back to Duelist, and what do you think about the team since we've had to deal with changing a player?
막 그렇게 반가워할 상황은 아니다. 왜냐면 대회가 얼마 남지도 않긴 했고 이번에 이벤트 대회 참가하면서 뭔가 연습할 시간도 줄어들었고, 근데 마크가 이제 못 나왔다고 해서 그래도 저희끼리는 흔들리면 안 된다. 저희끼리 흔들리지 않고 잘해야 된다. 그래서 제가 이번에 엔트리를 하게 되면서 사실 저는 좋은 것 같아요. 원래 제 포지션을 할 수 있어서.
I want to talk about Deryeon. Yes, I want to ask you guys about Deryeon. Of course, with him coming in, Euro shifted to the Duelist, and he's essentially coming up as the Sentinel role. Talk to me a little bit about how the roles are. Is there any other changes? How has his introduction to the team been? And what does he bring to the team that you feel like could actually help you guys a little bit more?
대련을 데려오고 싶다는 그 감독님 말씀에 저는 일단 찬성은 했어요. 왜냐면은 대련 선수가 저번 대회에서도 아니 이전 팀에서도 좋은 성적을 내지는 못했지만 개인적으로는 퍼포먼스는 잘 뽑았다고 생각해서 만약에 이 친구가 온다고 하면은 제가 센티널로 가도 되겠다. 아니면 그 친구가 원하지 않으면 제가 엔트리를 해도 되고. 그래서 좋은 옵션이었던 것 같아요, 저희한테는.
I think it was like right after practice one day. Actually, maybe it was even before practice. We got notified that Mark was not going to be able to make it to Korea in time for kickoff. And this was like maybe 2 hours before practice started. Mm-hmm. And so Juvie and I just started looking at players instantly. We were just like, okay, who can we possibly get that kind of fits the roles and doesn't, make us have to change 4 different roles? What can we slot in potentially? I was looking at Japan tier 2, and also I guess another thing that's kind of important for people to understand is that we can't risk anybody else from the Philippines, from Indonesia, from any of the places where the visa process is like a little bit more difficult. It had to be from either Korea because there's no visa, or it had to be from Japan or Singapore because those are very easy visas to get. So we only had 3 countries that we could pick from. So, I hop on VLR, I go to the Korean and Japanese and Singapore Malaysian split 3 that's happening right now. I go look at tier 1 games from last year and look at the flags. Okay, it was possible. Pretty immediately, Juve was saying that he thought Deryeon would probably be a good choice. And I also have thought Deryeon was a good player in the past, because I've kind of followed like Bleed's Ascension run, when they actually first made Ascension. And I thought he was a very solid player. But then Yudo was actually really helpful because I would bring him like, hey, what about this Korean player? What about this person? Because obviously he has better knowledge of the Korean scene than I do. And Yudo was like, nope. And so, and I trust his opinion on players. So then we messaged Deryeon. We're like, hey, can you practice today? And he said, yeah. And so, he first what was happening is we were like, okay, Mark, you're playing Sentinel today because Yudo's going to have to play Duelist, and then we'll figure out who's going to play Sentinel for us. But then Deryeon was available. And so we just brought him in immediately and played scrims with him. We got annihilated because we had 4 really good teams for that scrim day. Because I guess the extra context is that up to this point, we were having probably the best week of practice that we'd had so far as a team. Like we were crushing every team that we played in scrims, like tier 1 teams, tier 2 teams. And so we'd booked ourselves a really, really good slate of scrims. And so then all of a sudden we're switching roles, we're bringing in a new player, and we're playing like 4 really tough teams. So the first impression was a little rough, but Deryeon was great and Yudo was great on Duelist. We just, had a lot to deal with on that particular day, but everybody handled it really well. And like, nobody was like getting upset during the practices or anything. It was just kind of like, all right, we're just kind of rolling with the punches right now. And I mean, I can continue talking about this unless you want to ask another question, but
go for it, please. Spill all the beans.
Sure. I think Derek gets a bad rap just because he was on the worst team in the league last year. And it was a team that had 0 chemistry and no ability to play together as a team. So nobody off spots could be on that team, and he would also be a bad player. And it's just one of those situations where if you have a dysfunctional team, every player is going to look dysfunctional. And yet Derek was able to play 4 different roles and, still hold his own in the server, and, do what he could for the team, even though the results were not going to be great. So instantly joining the team, he's presented actually a slight problem in the fact that he's very communicative, whereas Mark was a little bit more quiet. And so we went from a place where we kind of had figured out our voices of like Kelly and Crystal talk a lot, Poppy's a little bit quiet, Yudo is a little quiet, but also does talk quite a bit when he needs to. And then Mark was very quiet. But now we've got Derek who likes to talk, Kelly who likes to talk, Crystal who likes to talk. We've had to kind of like figure out like where the space is supposed to be now. But with just a few practices, we've kind of settled into a pretty good rhythm. And I think Derek actually, while we lost a little bit of maybe the aggressive potential that Mark brought, there's the ability to just kind of be like, Mark, go and kill everybody. Derek actually brings experience that Mark didn't have. He brings in a wide variety of agents, and then we just kind of had like a pretty nice mature discussion where we just asked Yudo, hey, do you want to play Duelist? Do you want to play Sentinel? Derek, do you want to play Duelist? Do you want to play Sentinel? Because both of them can play both. And they talked about it, and we kind of let the team talk about it a little bit as Juvenile and I went and talked about other stuff. And then we just all kind of came to the conclusion that Yudo should play Duelist, Derek will play Sentinel, but we have the ability to kind of play a wide variety of strategies with the 5 that we have now.
How much of the practice would you say was done and you guys were at a pretty good stage? And how far do you still think we have to go?
현재는 일단 저는 굉장히 만족하고 있고요. 목표는 일단 킥오프 뭐 우승까지는 못하더라도 약간 상위권까지는 가야 하지 않나 싶습니다.
Yeah, I mean, I think I tend to agree. Like, people are getting a little bit of a taste of what some of our team can do during the Spotlight series. And that's without, our GOAT duelist, Yudathon. That's without our crazy firepower of Mark. And that's without another extremely high firepower, very flexible player in Derek. Like, I think basically the team with Derek is just a different sort of like flavor of what we could be than the team that we would be with Mark. And both teams have the potential to do very, very well. What I've been watching for the last 3.5 months is a team that's definitely capable of shooting with, first of all, shooting with anybody in the world. And second of all, our coordination, like you're seeing it now with Kelly, Crystal, and Poppy. Like, people are watch partying this and they're like, how is this team so coordinated, right? Like, they didn't practice at all. They play one warm-up scrim before the game that they play on that day. They don't talk about anything really. They do a little bit of server work. They play one warm-up scrim and then they play the game, and they look like a fully formed team, right? Yeah. And none of these other teams look like fully formed teams. So how is that possible? It's because we have really good players that are really good at playing together.
But Yudo, I want to ask you, what do you think about the Spotlight event? How has it been for you as watching your teammates?
일단 오프 시즌에 이런 대회에 참가할 수 있게 돼서 좋게 생각하고 있고요. 일단 저는 참가는 못했지만 팀들이 대회를 하는 걸 보면은 재밌게 즐기고 있다? 약간 대회 보면서 항상 뭐 게임 재밌게 하고 있네, 잘 하고 있네, 그런 생각하게 되는 것 같아요.
You're not playing Spotlight, yes, but what have you been doing in this last 1 week?
Playing Farmville.
뭐 랭크 게임 하면서도 하고 있고, 랭크 게임을 하다가 좀 힘들면은 TFT도 좀 하고, 뭐 친구들이랑도 뭐 얘기도 좀 하고, 뭐 그렇게 지내고 있는 것 같아요.
And occasionally I force him to come out to dinner with me and Gary. So we get to hang out, and he gets again order food for me because I can't navigate the menus.
Let me know a little bit about Elevator. This is for you. You've seen our 3 players do really well, but you've also had you've had time to watch Ineri and Alexi. Talk to me a little bit about those players, and as the transition to that, what do you think is the future of GameChangers looking like after you've seen these Spotlight events?
Well, if you listen to the chat and the forums, they want Ineri to be signed for us. And I legitimately think that both her and Alexi could play, in a team. Like they were 2v3 clutching last night against DRX to win the map. Both of them can shoot. Both of them can play multiple roles. They're obviously good teammates and having a good time with our guys. And I think the Spotlight series is actually maybe one of the best events that Riot's put on in the offseason, because a lot of them have like weird little gimmicks and stuff like that. But this has the right size prize pool to motivate people. It's got the opportunity to kind of like in real time see GC players match up against tier 1 players. And then also it kind of rewards teams that are like good at integrating with each other, right? And so it showcases some really good skills, and I think that we kind of lucked out with the GC players that we got. I think they're definitely the 2 best at the event, and we've been enjoying playing with them.
Did you expect them to go as clean as they did, 3-0, 6-0? And on top of that, did you expect them to, kind of be this dominant against the likes of PRX and DRX as well?
Did I think we'd be as dominant? No, but I definitely thought we'd be good. And I think once we had that map 1 comeback against PaperX, it was like, oh, okay, well, I think we're going to beat every team here. What do you think, Yudo? Should we have played more off-season events?
뭐 많이 하면 할수록 좋은 것 같긴 해요. 저희가 이제 이번 혼성 대회가 아니고 만약에 저희 멤버 5명끼리 나가는 대회였으면 더 좋았을 것 같기도 하고 앞으로 기회가 있으면은 참여하고 싶긴 해요. 참여하는 게 좋기도 하고.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely would have been nice to play like an event with our 5, but also if we'd played one early on in the off season, then we still would have had to, make a change anyway. So I think, yes, we probably will have, a bit of a transition with stage nerves. I think it's like inevitable, but I'm gonna be honest. I just think that the mood of the team it's just really good. Like we just like playing the game, and we like playing the game together. And the more that we play it together, the better we get.
What do you think we need to work on immediately, like in the upcoming weeks, and what's the plan for the long term?
I can't leak strats to you, sorry.
I'm not asking about strats.
Well, I'm trying to convince Yudaton to learn Yoru, but it's a tough agent. It's a tough agent to learn. That might be later on in the year. No, but honestly, like it's just one of those things where we just need more reps, like just straight up, because we've played, I don't know, 12 or 16 total scrims with our roster at this point since the Deryeon and Yudaton move. We're seeing, Poppy and Kelly and Crystal really kind of round into form. People are like, oh my God, Poppy's playing insane. Like, where was this guy, at face off? Has he always been this good? And I'm just like, yeah, I've been watching him just, tap people in the head for the last like 2.5 months. He's been playing this way. And I've been seeing Crystal do all these crazy things, and I've been seeing the calling was good. So like the foundation's already set, and realistically, like with Yudo and Derek, both of them are very easygoing and they're very positive people. And so, what you're seeing with Alexi and Aneri, like you're gonna see with our full 5, but it's gonna be even better because obviously we'll have practiced and played a lot more.
So the first opponent that we will be facing is going to be Team Secret. It's a classic Filipino battle, if one may put it that way. How do you guys feel about that?
Do you have any opinions on Team Secret and their grandfather Jesse Vash?
사실 이게 마크까지 있어야 돼. 이제 필리핀 3명이서 이제 싸우는 건데 당연히 이겨야 된다 생각하고요. 뭐 저희 멤버가 바뀌었다고 해서 뭐 달라지는 것도 없을 것 같고.
Hello, Gary.
He's riding with a quill, like with a feather. It's almost like he's in a set of Harry Potter.
You should see the Christmas tree that he bought us. It's not very impressive. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, as far as Team Secret goes, I mean, I've kind of always been a fan of Team Secret just because coming from Dota, like they were founded by like Puppy, the Dota legend, and so I've also been aware of Jesse Vash for a long time because he was a Dota player, and then he was an Overwatch player, and then he was a Valorant player. So I've always kind of liked Team Secret, but I think they're kind of like a solid but kind of inconsistent team, and I think they're like a really good like benchmarking team for us to play against because they've been really close to like making it into the like upper echelon of Pacific for the last 2 years and just kind of fallen just short of that both times. And so I think it's like a really good first match for us to be like, how do we actually stack up against the entire region overall?
One team that you want to face in the upcoming stages of Kickoff?
저는 개인적으로는 DRX 프링이 또 제 전 팀메이트이기 때문에 한번 상대해주고 싶네요.
I think it'll be kind of fun to play, like hopefully against like a Talon, for example, just because they also have an American coach and some American players, right? So like,
I mean, you probably will if you win against Secret. The next
Yeah.
opponent is going to be Talon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get that first win and we'll get the matchup against Talon. But I just want to play like all the teams. I think it would be super fun to play against DRX for Yudo's sake, because the teammate battles are always fun. I think it would be fun to play against the heavy hitters of the league, and Genji and PaperX. I know a lot of people are excited about T1 as well, and so just everybody. It's always fun to just kind of test yourself against the best and see how you stack up.
And one particular team which nobody used to talk about, but now they are, is DFM. They've suddenly become really, really nice. Their Ryzen's power level, skill level, it's like on everybody's mind. What do you think about them?
What do you think about DFM, Yudo?
뭐 DFM은 이번에 대회하면서 드디어 뭔가 자신들만의 해결법을 찾았다. 그래서 이제 뭔가 좀 폭발력 있는 경기력을 보여주는데 굉장히 기대가 되는 팀 중 하나긴 합니다. 이번 킥오프 때.
My general view on Pacific region overall is that the league has like flattened significantly. I think that the bottom teams have come up and the top teams have kind of come down. And so I think that right now, like almost anybody can beat anybody in this league. I wouldn't weigh too much into off-season events. Like, oh my God, DFM's the top team in the league, because I've seen a lot of people saying that, which is insane to me. But I just think that the overall level of the league has leveled up, so it's going to be very competitive. I think it's open to anybody to go out there and take it.
This is something I wanted to ask Yudo personally. Yudo, Genji last season amazing. This season one change. Do you think they can do it again? Can they win stuff again?
젠지가 저번 시즌에는 거의 진짜 뭔가 빈틈도 없이 되게 탄탄했던 팀이었던 것 같은데 이번에 리빌딩 하면서 그나마 좀 빈틈을 찾을 수 있을 것 같다. 빈틈이 살짝씩 보이는 것 같아서 저번 시즌만큼 팀이 그렇게 완벽하진 않은 것 같아서.
Who is the vibe master of the team?
크리스탈?
Crystal.
I mean, I think that we're not like a team that has like one person that's sort of like, hyping everybody else up. It's sort of like a collective, like let's all have fun. Crystal is definitely the loudest person on the team, and he's definitely like the funniest to listen to in the comms. I pray for the editors, because they also have to bleep out like 80% of what he says during the game. But he's funny. But honestly, like Yudo's funny, Ellie's funny, Poppy's funny, Mark is funny. Derek is sort of like finding himself in the team, but he's a chill guy also. Hashtag meme. Both me and Juvenile also have to step in sometimes, just be like, let's lighten things up a little bit. But nobody really takes themselves too seriously on this team, which is good.
In this Spotlight series, people, we know that the event is not as serious because, of course, it's a mixed roster. The fans have been saying, if this is how they're playing when they're not serious, please tell them not to play with any seriousness at all in Kickoff. So what do we feel about that? Is the team going to continue that vibe of not being serious?
Anytime that you want to perform your best, and you can ask like every professional athlete, like you have to be in the zone, right? And to be in the zone, you can't be actively thinking about what you're doing, and you can't be sort of like trying too hard. There's like this really kind of Goldilocks zone of being challenged just enough, but also not being like too serious about your results. You can't be thinking about the future, because you have to be in the present to be in the zone. And so and this is something that every competitor struggles with. It's like one day you can be in the zone, another day you can't. You might do the same routine, and then you're just like not able to unlock like your true potential on that day. So it happens. But yeah, I mean, I think you're kind of seeing like what it looks like when the three players are in the zone, and it's just kind of up to me and Juvenile and the team as a whole to sort of cultivate like an environment that allows us to do that. And it's not going to happen every time, but I think it does help that, like I said, everybody on the team is like good natured. We don't have anybody like yelling at each other during practice. You know, these things have like never happened. Like we've never gotten in a fight during practice ever, and I don't think we ever will because our players are just like we're just chill.
Cool guys. Yeah.
As an extension to that question, who's got the funniest or the weirdest pre-game ritual?
It's probably Poppy who watches like gold gameplay footage for some reason.
Wait, what?
Oh, okay, yeah, that is weird. That's way weirder than I thought.
Poppy just watches like low level
Gold
Valorant
gameplay.
randomly.
I think all of us have experienced this, right? We're playing a death match, and then suddenly out of nowhere, there's this one gold or platinum player who absolutely, destroys the entire lobby, no matter who you are. Like they just hit heads for some reason. They go like 40 and 14 or something, and then you have a look at their rank. You're like, he's gold. Like, how is this possible? Like, what?
What's it like living with Yudo so far, and who are you most excited to meet in real life?
I think Yudo is probably happy that I don't actually live in his apartment with him in the same building. I'm just excited to meet the whole team, honestly. Like, I've been interacting with them on Discord this whole time, but it's always different when you're in person and all the little idiosyncrasies that people have. Kelly and I have talked about going to watch some Korean professional baseball because Korea is really into baseball, and both of us played baseball in our past lives. So we're going to go catch some games when the season starts. And I think, that's probably like one thing that I'm super looking forward to.
Wow. Baseball. I did not expect that. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know that Korea was actually that heavy on baseball. I was actually going to wait for you to say, we're going to go watch some, local cafe is going to play StarCraft. And I'm like, yes, StarCraft.
I mean, I could play some Brood War. It's been a while, but I could play some Brood War again.
저희 응원해주시는 팬분들 감사하고, 이번 시즌에는 좋은 성적으로 보답할 수 있도록 열심히 해보도록 하겠습니다.
Let's do the high five, Yudo, since we can. Yes, sir.